Stop talking about comic books or I'll kill you. I don't care if the Hulk could defeat the Man of Steel. I'm gonna rearrange your face if you continue to debate whether Logan's claws could pierce Steve Rogers' shield.
Hey there, comic fam. Bullseye Bob here, and welcome to Everything Comics. Well, as you can see, I am not interviewing Anthony Cleveland. He ended up getting sick, and so we've had to postpone that interview. So I thought I'd do something just a little bit different tonight, and it's something that I've kind of been putting off for a long time. I had an idea for a video a while ago to show all of the covers I have in my collection of the character Bullseye, and I thought, who's going to want to watch that? I probably should have just did it for the fun, but I just kind of put it off because I didn't think anybody would care about that type of video. And then just the other day, I was watching one of our fellow YouTubers, Hialeah Comics Bro, and he showed all of the books in his collection where Colossus is on the cover. And I thought, you know, if Hialeah can do it, why not me? And so without further ado, that's what I'm going to do. I'm going to show you all of the covers that I have in my collection with Bullseye. And so, as you guys know, Bullseye is one of my favorite villains. I've loved him for just about from the first time that I was introduced to him all the way up until now. He's the nemesis of my boy Daredevil, and truly one of the best villains of all time. He was created in 1976, March of 1976, by the great Marv Wolfman, and the original penciler was John Romita Sr. And I mean, how can you go wrong with that duo? Now, the first book that Bullseye was in was Daredevil number 131, and Bob Brown was actually the penciler on that book. So John Romita is not actually credited for doing any pencils on the first issue that Bullseye was in, but he is credited as being the person who created the overall design of Bullseye with Marv Wolfman. So that's kind of a little bit of comics history for you there. And when he was first originally created, the character was kind of more comedic. It wasn't really taken very seriously. One of the things about Marv Wolfman that has always puzzled me is that he never really liked the work that he did on Daredevil. He said that he wanted to be taken off of the book because he felt that he wasn't bringing anything to the table that was, I mean, had any type of bearing or lasting effect or anything that really brought anything to the character. And I beg to differ. He created one of the best villains of all time, and whether he likes his work on it or not, I have to credit him for giving me so much entertainment over the years. So Marv Wolfman, John Romita, thank you very much for this amazing character. Now, you guys know my name's Bullseye Bob. It's no real secret on how I got the name. I was trying to pick out an email address with some type of Daredevil title, and I kept going back and forth between names, and everything seemed to be taken. And some of you know my original channel, I was called DD Bullseye. That was about the only thing that I could find that wasn't taken already, that was Daredevil centric. Of course, Bullseye is one of the greatest Daredevil characters ever, and so I was able to at least pull that email address off. And so when I started thinking about making a YouTube channel, I wanted a fun name. I picked out my own name, and I mean, since my name is Bob, I went with Bullseye. Bullseye Bob sounded like a cool name. So that's how I got the name. It had nothing to do with anybody giving me a nickname or anything else besides me just picking an arbitrary name, and it's just kind of stuck ever since. So thank you guys for handling that for me. But the reason why I love the character so much is basically in the pages of Daredevil, of course in Daredevil 181, we had one of the most iconic pages that has ever been created by the artist Frank Miller. I love the fact that Bullseye was the nemesis of Daredevil. There were so many great Frank Miller stories. But that issue, when he kills Elektra, when he kills the character Elektra, and you see that panel with the her sigh going up through her chest, it was so incredible. It blew me away, and I thought nothing could be better inside of comics than what Frank Miller was doing at that particular moment. Incredible. And so it cemented him as one of my favorite villains in history because there was somebody who could actually take out a main character, which put me on the edge of my seat again. And so that was the thing I loved about the character. Anytime Bullseye would come around, I was on the edge of my seat. And I think That right there is the essence of what makes him such a great villain. There's, heavy-duty villains like Doctor Doom or Magneto, and I wouldn't be afraid of being around them just because of their power. I wouldn't be afraid because they wouldn't just arbitrarily kill me just for the fun of it, at least not that I think. But with Bullseye, you don't know who he's going to kill. When he walks into a room, he's going to take somebody out just because for the fun of it. He loves to kill. There's two characters in all the comic books that I would just absolutely be terrified to be around because you never know what was going to happen. And that would be the Joker and it would be Bullseye, just because they would just kill for no reason at all. And I think if you can bring the essence of what that is into the comic books, you've nailed Bullseye. I think the only writer that has really brought that out to great effect was Ed Brubaker when he started writing pages of Daredevil. And there's this great scene where Daredevil's in prison and he can hear the cacophony of all the prisoners, everybody, playing games and talking and doing their business. And he could hear the noise all around him of all those voices, speaking. And then all of a sudden, a hush came over the whole prison. And Daredevil instinctively knew, he's here. That's right. They had wheeled Bullseye in, kind of looking like Hannibal Lecter. He had a straitjacket on and he had the, face guard. But he could hear that the whole prison hushed because everybody knew, now I've got to be on edge because Bullseye's here. That is the essence of what makes him such a great villain. He is so diabolical, scary to be around, loves to kill, and he's a master assassin. I've loved the history of this character, but without further ado, I'm just going to go ahead and get into the books. I could go on for days about why I like this character, but that's just kind of a little bit. So here we go. And so, as you know, we had a lot of different iterations of Bullseye, and one of them came in the aftermath of the Secret Invasion. And that's when Harry Osborn put together a team called the Avengers. Then basically we know that they're the Dark Avengers, and these were villains taking up the heroes' mantles. And since Bullseye is a master marksman, he became Hawkeye for the team. And so that's where we're going to start. This is Dark Reign, Hawkeye, #1. And there's Bullseye on the cover there. And of course, the next one, he's just there, and that's Bullseye, but he's dressed as Hawkeye. And then you have Dark Reign #3. And here's #4. Love that cover. And then here you go with #5. So there you go. And I'm sorry about the books. The camera's kind of creating a little fishbowl effect here, so it's not completely straight. But we'll get through it. But anyway, there's the first 5 books. That's the Hawkeye Dark Reign. And then, of course, he was in the Dark Avengers. This was the only cover that I found where Bullseye is actually on the cover for Dark Avengers. And then later on, he was in the Thunderbolts. I think Warren Ellis was the one who put him into the Thunderbolts. I may be wrong about that, but I've always loved that cover. And then we see him later on. He was in the Old Man Hawkeye series. And I love these ones because it fleshed out there was a possibility of Old Man Daredevil. But here he is, Old Man Bullseye on the cover there. And then I love this cover, issue #9. And that is just awesome. Look at that, with his iconic cards being thrown. And then, of course, he was also in the pages of Old Man Logan. This is Old Man Logan #45, in the exact same pose with which he killed Elektra in. And then here's Old Man Logan #43. I didn't put these in any kind of order, guys. There's no order of importance or when they came out. I just was going to show you my Bullseye covers. And then here's Old Man Logan #37. That's an awesome cover right there, them battling it out. And then there was the Bullseye mini-series that came out, and there was a ton of covers for this. And so I've collected just about every one. I think I got most of them. But here's the action figure variant. And then I've always loved this cover. I know that one's a little harder to get. Here's another one of the variants for issue #1. This one, I believe, is done by Michael Cicchetto, who's one of my favorite Daredevil artists. By the way, Daredevil 21 came out today, and it's amazing. Great stuff. And then here's the actual main covers. There's issue number 1. Then here's issue number 2. Such a great character. Then issue number 3. And we got issue number 4. And we ended up with issue number 5. Let me take these off of here. And then this one, this cover is one of my prize Bullseye covers. This comes from the same miniseries. This is the Bill Sienkiewicz variant. I just love that cover. That one I'm probably going to get slabbed. That's pretty amazing. And then of course Bullseye did they did a couple of miniseries with Bullseye. One of them was a 2-issue miniseries called The Perfect Game. And that's the first issue. And then that's the second issue. If you know anything about this, it tells the story of how he became a baseball player, strikeout pitcher, and his pretty much one of his first kills was taking out somebody at the plate, caught him right between the eyes. Anyway, Bullseye greatest hits is pretty. That's Bullseye Perfect Game, and then of course the next mini series is Bullseye's greatest hits, which this series contains one of my favorite Bullseye covers of all time. This is issue number 2. And then we got issue 3. I was really surprised that when I went through my collection, had just how many covers I had with Bullseye on it. It was just a lot of fun to realize just how many of them I have. And then issue 4, little Elektra action on the cover there. And then probably my favorite cover of all time, issue number 5. Of course, I got the poster sitting right behind me that I had made. And so those are the mini-series. And then Bullseye has been known to kind of show up in other books besides Daredevil. And if you remember back in the 90s, he showed up in the Gambit series. That's issue 17. I think the reason why they brought him into the Gambit series was because of the fact that he throws cards and so does Remy. And it's not a great story, but it does have one of my favorite Bullseye lines ever, where Bullseye tells Remy, "I kill like you breathe." I thought that was perfect. It sums up the character perfectly. And then this is issue number 19. And then he shows up in the pages of She-Hulk. Love that cover. Then he shows up in Moon Knight as well. This is issue number 24. And here we have issue 23. And then another character that he has a long history with besides Daredevil is the Punisher. Now, when I was going through my collection, for some reason I can't find the 5th issue of Bullseye versus Punisher, but here's issue number 1. Here's issue number 2. Here's issue number 3. Issue number 4. I love that cover. And then from the pages of just the regular Punisher book, we have issue number 104. And then one of my favorite covers of all time. This is issue 102. Got this in an AOK from one of the watchers of the new Comics and Coffee show on Comics with Bueller. I forget the gentleman's name who sent that in, but love that cover. It was actually a nicer one than the one that I had, and so Bueller allowed me to take this one, and I just absolutely love that cover. I'll probably end up getting this one slabbed as well. And so now we'll move on to the actual Daredevil books that he is in. The cover's in my collection. And so the first one came out just very recently, which was the Iron Man 2020 variant covers with all the gears on them. And out of all those variant covers that came out, this one was one of the ones I enjoyed. Even though it's a Bullseye cover, I did enjoy the cover in and of itself. This is Daredevil issue number 9 variant cover, Dead Man's Hand. Always loved that cover. And then we had Shadowland. This was also a mini series, but the first cover has Bullseye in the casket on there. That's actually not a Daredevil book. I just realized that. Then the next one I have is issue number 160, and this is a controversial cover. They would never be able to get away with this nowadays. But we have Bullseye basically wrapping a hairdryer cord around Black Widow's neck, and he's got her basically on the cover about ready to pass out. And again, this is one of the reasons why he was one of my favorite villains. Daredevil was a ladies' man, and he had a lot of different women that, became very close to him. Karen Page, of course, was his first love, and then Elektra was probably his greatest love, and then he also had a love affair with Black Widow. And we know that he killed Elektra. He also, in the Kevin Smith run, he killed Karen Page, and in this he almost killed Black Widow, and so really goes after Daredevil. But anyway, you'd never be able to get away with that cover nowadays, at least I don't think, but it's an iconic cover. Next one is Daredevil number 141. Always loved that, where Bullseye shoots Daredevil out of a cannon. Then we have Daredevil 146. And we have Daredevil number 288. Of course, he's sitting there in the Kingpin's office. Always loved that cover. Let me put these down here. And then we have Daredevil issue 200. And of course, Bullseye's on the ground there. This is Daredevil number 6. Like I said, these are all out of order. I'm just showing you the covers that I have. And we have Daredevil number 132. Number 290. Just kicking the stones out of Daredevil. And then we have more of the Dark Reign stuff. This is a variant cover. Love that one. Another Dark Reign variant. And then we have the Daredevil End of Days. And this is covers by David Mack. I always love that one. And then here's my issue of Daredevil 181, that iconic issue, The Death of Elektra. And this is a nice copy, one of the nicest ones I've ever seen. I will be sending that in to get slabbed. And then the next two are probably two of my favorite in my collection. The first is a Daredevil cover that Jason from Heroes to Icons, he did some artwork on one of the blank covers, and Bullseye's on it. It's one of my prizes in my collection because he just did it for me just because, and I just love the brother for that. And so here it is. I love that cover. And of course, he knows I love Daredevil, but he did put Bullseye on there, so I have to show it as part of this collection. And so again, one of the prizes in my collection. Thank you so much, Jason. And of course, last but not least, I have to show off the one that started it all, Daredevil number 131. This one is signed by Klaus Janson. It's my original copy. It's a 7.0. I am perfectly fine with that grade. I am eyeing one that's a little bit nicer. If I get that one, I'm going to send it off to have John Romita Sr. to sign, and I'll get Marv Wolfman to sign it. And but I will always keep this one because it was my original. So, but there you have it, folks. There are the covers in my collection that have Bullseye on them, and I was really surprised at how many I actually had. I know there was a couple that I don't have. Like I realized after talking with Sam from Sam's Tangled Web today, somewhere I think I have the Kevin Smith series that he started and never finished. I forget what the name of it is right off the top of my head, but I know that cover's not here, and I know I have it somewhere. And there are others. If there's others that you didn't see here that you have that I might not know about, do me a favor, let me know inside of the comments. I would love to be able to pick up those books. I'm always on the hunt for good books, and since I have so many Bullseye covers, I might as well try to collect them all. So anyway, I hope you guys enjoyed that. I enjoyed it. It was a lot of fun. I think I did this more for me than anybody else, but I figured I'd do something a little bit different tonight. And again, I hope you guys enjoyed it. Thanks so much for all you guys' support. If you like the content I'm putting out, do me a favor, hit that like and subscribe button. And I'll be back this Saturday doing my reviews from the Refuge Coffee House. Can't wait for that. But just remember, Friday night, 5 p.m. Pacific Standard Time, the battle draft. The next battle draft is happening, and we're doing the Legion of Doom. That's right. We're all getting together, and we're doing our best villain teams. You guys tune in for it. It's going to be an awesome time. But until then, always remember, support your local comic shop, folks, and Excelsior. Take care.